What is going on, my Facebook friends, followers, and everyone that likes to chime in to the WGR Live? Super stoked. I'm going to get a great friend, mentor of mine, Mr. Robert Riopel. Let me just check this out. He's going to come in live from Canada. For all you Canadians out there, as you guys are hopping on, I just sent him the invitation. Make sure to click that like, comment, and share button and send all your buyer and seller referrals to Utah. We just got Robert popping on here. We're going to be talking about this new book coming out and the idea of success leaving clues. I'll put in a comment right now. Success left a clue, okay? Check out his website, Success Left a Clue. Robert Riopel, he's even got that in the background there. How you doing, Robert?
But I am doing great, Colton. Yourself?
Oh, man, I love my life every single day.
Good to see, good to see.
Yes, so real quick, as we hop into this, in under 60 seconds, share with these guys where you're from, who you are, what your background is. And I know it's a lot to do in 60 seconds. And click that share button, guys, and give me some reactions right away. So go ahead, Robert.
Well, you know, as I put in your post from earlier today when you did the roll call, I'm from my mother. But I am Canadian. I am Canadian, born and bred, and live here in beautiful Calgary. And, yeah, you know, I've gone through the life of how do you create what you want. And I always got in, dug in, and started wherever I need to, and passionately went in the direction I want. So I started as a Domino's Pizza driver and ended up becoming a Domino's Pizza manager and then franchisee, went deep into debt, discovered personal development. From there, I went from deep in debt to financially successful in 9 months. And for the last 15 years, I've traveled around the world getting to impact people's lives.
So go ahead.
I just actually got back from where I physically, get this, Colton, and physically in the last 2 weeks, I actually flew around the world. I went from Calgary to Dublin, Dublin to Singapore. Singapore back here. So
do you do that first class or do you ride back in the coach?
Dude, you have to ask.
I couldn't imagine doing it in the coach, man. That'd be crazy.
Yeah. Well, you know, with kind of hours I put on the stage, as you know, it's like you got to think of it like a professional athlete. And so I need to do what I need to do to take care of my body. And so first time I ever went international, I flew to Singapore and I did go coach. I landed. I said, if I'm ever coming back, I'm never doing coach again for overseas. So now I do all my travel by business class.
So just so everyone's super clear, I don't know how many of you guys see on stage speakers, trainers, and you're like, dude, I want to do that one day. If you've ever thought about that, this guy right here is the master. Hands down the best on stage trainer and I've seen a lot. I mean, I've seen Tony Robbins train. That guy's epic, right? Brendan Bouchard, Robert Kiyosaki, Blair Singer, which was by far an awesome trainer. Like, I think this guy is the guy that trains and teaches everyone. So learn from him. So you mentioned you went from being the franchisee, you know, Domino's to personal development, and there was a financial shift that happened. Tell us, what do you mean a financial shift? What happened?
You know, like most people, and Colton, look, I just got goosebumps from that little mention. Thank you very much. Totally appreciate that. I love what I do, and that's, you know, you got to follow your passions in life. And so when I was a Domino's Pizza franchisee, I was never taught how to manage money. I come from a very poor background. My family never had money at all. And so anytime we did have money, we would spend it. I remember in 1978, I think my dad got a $2,000 tax return from the government. And instantly, and we were scraping by meal to meal, week to week, paycheck to paycheck. And as soon as he got that tax return, especially in 78, a lot of money. All 6 of us in the family all got brand new bikes. He bought a used car and a China cabinet for my mom, and we went back to being broke again. And so I took that programming into what I would do. Anytime I'd start getting some money, I would spend. And so that's what, as we started having Domino's Pizza success and money started coming in, we started spending more and more money, which put us deep into debt. And it was just...
even though you were making more money, you still were getting deeper into the financial trap. Is that right?
Absolutely. You've heard the saying, there's no amount of money you can't outspend. I've coached students now that were $1 million a month earners in their companies, and they were still playing credit card roulette because they were broke.
So
now picture that.
I recently launched a book. What helped me get financially free from 2012 to last year is when I hit financial freedom. We know the definition is your passive residual income pays for your desired lifestyle, right? You know, for me, it was managing that cash flow, right? So
Yes.
recently I launched a program called Financial Freedom Nation. It's an 8-week jumpstart program, learning how to manage your cash flow. And I have 81 students in that. And guess what
Nice.
percentage of those students have zero money management cash flow system before they started? Just take a guess.
100%. 100%.
Nearly 100%. 90% said they never even thought about it. 10% said they had one, but they only used it 1 to maybe twice a quarter, right?
Yep.
So that's really not a system in place, right?
Nope, it's not.
And you are obviously a financial expert now when it comes to that. You've created financial freedom for your life, right? And you created this book, Success Left a Clue. Tell us about that. What's this book all about?
If people want to create an epic life, and one of the things is they want to start dreaming again. So back in 2002, I actually first had an idea. It's when I started being a student. I wanted to write a book. No idea what was going to be in it, but I knew I wanted to write a book. And I came up with a title. Mark Victor Hansen, the founder of Chicken Soup for the Soul books, with his partner Jack Canfield. I was having a conversation with him, and I gave him my title, and he said, I like it, but it's not strong enough. And I didn't even know what was going to be in the book. I just had a title. And funny enough, what I had as my original title is now the final chapter of the book. And so 2008, I decided to take a year off, turn it into 3.5 years. And that's one of the biggest things that kicked in for me. How many people would love to be able to take a year or even 3.5 years off and not have to worry financially about money? Because that's putting yourself in that position. Most people could never do that. And so I wrote the original manuscript, but I still didn't put it out. And then last year, I finally said, you know what, enough is enough. It's been too long, so I've committed to put the book out, and today is the launch of that book, which has been a 15-year journey, and it's about 6 steps to bring your dreams to reality. Not just a theory of why it should work.
Wait. Today is the launch?
Today is the launch.
What?
Yeah.
I didn't realize it was today. I mean, I got your email, but what are the odds all of a sudden the universe puts it together, I get to interview you on the day of your book launch, dude? That's super epic. That is awesome.
It launched at 10 o'clock Mountain Standard Time this morning. And so It's a week-long launch. And that's why we're telling people I see you put the post there. Go to successleftaclue.com because we're giving away a ton of bonuses just for people to order the book. And actually, I suggest, here's my recommendation. I tell them go order a 6-pack because they not only get a book for free, I'll personalize one of the books to them, autograph it for them. And, now they hand out 5 to their friends, especially when you're talking about surrounding yourself with 5 people that you surround yourself with the most. That's going to be the average of your income. So you might as well help your friends get financially free and reach their dreams. So get them on the path.
Cool. So here's what we're going to do, Robert. So everyone that clicks that share button and I go back and see you shared it, I am going to order you a book and send it to you. Fair enough?
Oh, dude.
Boom. We're
it.
there. Golden. So I'm going to, so make sure you click the share button right now and then follow up with me. I'll check it out. Make sure you shared it. I will get with you and order you and send you a book. Cool. Also, I want to just ask you guys watching, whether it's live or recorded, how many of you maybe feel like Robert, as he was describing, he was maybe making more money, but he never got ahead financially? Put yes in the comments or give some reactions if you could resonate with wanting to get financially free. And David, thank you for the share so much. So Robert, tell us, what is financial freedom in your world now? Because I'm sure it's changed from even 15 years ago.
Well, it's the same definition that you shared earlier. You're technically financially free when you're passive income. So money working without you having to work, your passive income is greater than your expenses. And so to me, that was the first step. And that's where I want to get everybody. But what's really kind of cool is the moment you create financial freedom and you're now, Colton, most people are spending 40, 50 or more hours a week just to earn a living. Can you imagine if all of a sudden now you didn't have to work and you took, say, even 10 hours a week, 10 hours a week of that time that you were going to work before, and you now actually focused on creating wealth? That's when wealth becomes so much easier, because the universal principle says what you focus on expands. Or another way of putting it, where attention goes, your energy flows and your results are going to show. So all of a sudden, instead of stressing for 40, 50 hours a week, just trying to earn a living, now you take 10, 15, 20 hours a week to go towards wealth. Boom. Wealth happens very, very quickly. And that's mindset.
So here's what's cool, and I just want to point this out to you guys watching, is so I obviously promised to give those books to you guys. I learned from the same place as Robert that, okay, now I can take money from my Give account and I can do epic stuff like that. And it doesn't hurt me to do it because I got money sitting there, right? You know,
Yep.
Here's something cool too. Because of my Give account set up, we were able to give Christmas to 110 people here locally last year. And right now, we're with our WGR Give project is to provide school clothes for 35 kids in our local area, which will be roughly just over $5,000 here, you know, $150 or so per kid, $150 to $200 per kid. So
that's amazing.
Thank you. And what I love about being financially free is we can give back on a larger scale. And to me, giving is way funner than, I mean, I love going to Costa Rica for 3 weeks, but I get way more out of helping a kid show up the first day of school with confidence. You know what I mean? Like that to me is the life worth living. Right?
Dude, see those hairs standing up again? Goosebumps all over, baby. That's what we're talking about. And that's it. And so, and giving too isn't just your money. And I know you can resonate with this. It's about, why don't I give some money and jump in? You know, instead of just giving money to Meals on Wheels, go and deliver the meals as well. You know, giving those kids that stuff, being there to show up at the school as they arrive, handing them a backpack or handing them the clothes or the school books before they go, to say, you know, I'm here to help you learn and have an even greater life. That's
so. Oh, I love that, man. And let's just, Jeff, thank you for sharing. Jason, appreciate you sharing. Jared, Wanda, who else? Zach shared. David, appreciate you guys all sharing. If so far, just in the 10, 15 minutes or whatever we've been on here, is creating any value for you, please share some reactions, some positive reactions. If it's a waste of time, give me some angry faces so I know how to increase and improve some comments for you guys. You know what's so cool? So I've been really on this focus to increase engagement, Robert, on Facebook. And just all my, you know, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube are my 3 main channels. And so taking what I learned from Train the Trainer with you in 2015, and so, you know, you're asking questions. How do you get the stage, the room involved? It's been fun to learn how to get the followers in the digital world responding and talking. So what are some of the ways that, you know, you can give some advice to these guys on how engagement will help, whether it's in person or digitally, to just help them move their mission along?
Well, you know, the first thing that pops in my head is you've got to be passionate about what you're doing. You know, it's one thing to go, hey, Colton, you know, I'd love for you to kind of have a conversation with me. Let's talk about something I'm really, really excited about. What do you think, man?
Sounds boring.
Right. And people don't realize, but even if what a lot of the communication comes across as, even if you're not, you know, kind of tired or whatever. So you got to amp up your energy. And one of the ways you do that is actually the first step that I talk about in my book. You've got to dream. And I love how one of my mentors, because I'm a big person about having mentors, and one of my mentors said this. He says, and I want you to answer this for me, Colton. What does it cost you to think?
Maybe 15 seconds of your time to start. I mean, time is really the only cost I can think of.
So you're saying no money-wise to think?
No.
Okay, so if it costs you nothing to think, then why not think big?
Whoa.
See, and that's where it is. And you know who Les Brown is?
Yep.
Mamie Brown's baby boy, Les Brown, you're going to be hungry. Next Monday, I'm going to be doing a Facebook Live out to his group of 1.2 million people that follow him on Facebook. And he actually wrote the foreword for my book, and just amazing, amazing gentleman. And I love his quote that says, it's not that we set our goals too high and we miss them, it's that we set them too low and we hit them. And in communication, that's the biggest problem. People don't believe they deserve more or that they can have more. So they start setting their goals really, really low, and they think that's all they're going to be able to do. So what I want you to do is I want you to start thinking, or in other words, dreaming the big dream. As kids, anything was possible. Anything. But then as we grew up, we were told why we couldn't have it, why we couldn't handle it, why it wasn't right for us, or why we didn't have the right education. And we started to believe that crap. And because of that, we discounted our abilities. So I want people to start, if they want to communicate more, they got to tap into their passion. tap into that passion, because that passion will carry them a long, long way.
So what are some ways that people can re-tap into the passion to think again, to dream again, to get, because people that aren't financially free, they've got their work to deal with, they got their kids. I don't know, my kids freaking run me wild, right? Like life happens, and it's almost as if we forget to dream. So what are some key steps, 3 steps to dream big? Not just to dream again, but to dream big again.
Well, one is this. Start being more gentle with yourself. We are our own worst critics. You know, if you had a best friend that treated you the way you treat yourself, they wouldn't be your best friend for very long. Yet we take it from ourselves. So one is to be more gentle with yourself. 2, have faith. Let the law of attraction work in your favor. You don't have to know every freaking step of how it's going to happen, how you're going to create it, what it's going to look like, when it's going to happen. So you just set the intention. And I say it like this. Think of an intention or a dream like a woman is starting to have a baby grow inside of her. And I know, guys, I need you to visualize this. I know you can't, you haven't experienced this and you won't, but I need you to visualize for all the ladies in your life, okay? So all of a sudden they give birth to that baby. And what happens is the reason a lot of our people's dreams don't come true is they never cut the umbilical cord. And what that umbilical cord is, the attachment. It's got to look like this. It's got to happen this way in this amount of time. If it doesn't, it's not what I'm looking for. And so because they have so much attachment, the power of manifestation never gets to work in their favor. And so what does that do? All of a sudden they go, see, why did I even bother? See, I'm not the right person for this. And so they start to beat themselves up again. So what you do with manifestation, you set that intention. You let it go. You give it space to do the magic it does. And then you be open to how it comes back to you. As Garth Brooks' song says, some of God's greatest gifts are unanswered prayers. And so some of the greatest gifts you're going to receive is a dream that comes back to you, not the way you thought it should, but the way it was meant to, if that makes sense.
Makes perfect sense. I feel I used to almost strangle my goals. If that communicates, I would hold on so tight to how it was supposed to be that I would cause this negative feel bad zone energy of frustration and doubt and worry. And it was miserable to live in, right? Not that I don't ever feel frustration now. It's just once I'm aware of it, it's like, well, let's let this go. Let's get this out of my life, right?
Well, you've got a higher vibration. So what takes you out is a lot different than what takes most people out. You know, a little thing to them or a little thing to you might be a huge epic thing to them. So because they just need to raise their vibrations. And you said it. Everything, just because you've got more success doesn't mean you don't have crap going on in your life. It's just you don't let it take you out. You find a way to get through it, not be stopped by it.
I'm sure you've read Ask and It's Given, Abraham Hicks. Have you ever read that book or anything?
No, actually, that one I haven't. But I
Abraham
know his
Hicks?
work a lot.
Okay.
I know his work quite a bit, yeah.
So the emotional guidance scale from Abraham Hicks was revolutionary for me. It's just when I could become aware of where my thoughts were taking my emotion, and then I could just feel good and just a little bit better. You know, it was like to go from anger to just doubt was like a relief. Does that make sense? I didn't need to go clear up to enthusiasm. I just needed to not be so angry, right?
Yep.
How do you raise your vibrations? What are some things you could share with these watching to raise your vibration and get rid of that negative hold? Well,
the other thing I do is I actively and consciously avoid what I call dream stealers. And, you know, a lot of the times it's those closest to us, and it's not like they're doing it maliciously. They're doing it out of wanting to protect us, to love us. You know, look, you tried that before. Just why do it again? Why set yourself up for pain? Or, you know, come on, really? You just spend some money on that. You sure that, what if it doesn't work out? And so they don't even realize they're trying to steal your dreams. And so what all of your listeners have to do, Colton, is they've got to, make sure that they take responsibility. And they take responsibility for monitoring their own dreams. And so what I do to raise my vibration is if I know someone's stealing my dream, I go, got it, caught it. I'm not going to get upset at them. That's their programming. I'm just going to go, you know what? I choose not to let it knock me down. And so it takes courage. Yeah, I'll use the example. You know who Sai is, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So here
And you can do the dance, right?
no idea what you're talking about. So here he is. His parents send him from Korea. They send him to the U.S. to go to school, wanting him to be a doctor or a lawyer or something. But his passion wasn't that. His passion was to be an entertainer. And this is why I say sometimes it takes courage to follow your passions. So his passion was to really be an entertainer. So he dropped out of school. His parents weren't happy. So they flew him back to Korea because they're not going to pay for him to be out of school. He starts following his passion against their wishes, and he starts to get a little bit of notoriety, just a little bit. For 12 years, he gets married. He has twin daughters. He's starting to get a little bit of notoriety in Korea. Then he comes up with this idea for this song called Gangnam Style. And so when he does it, you know, the horsey move that everybody knows, he actually went through 50 different animals to come up with that move. 50. And he didn't know if it was going to work or not. Well, as you know, the video went viral. And what a lot of people think is, and here's a good example of a dream stealer. You know what? He's a one-hit wonder. Even if that was the case, who cares? He's done something in history no one else has done yet. And that's what, but look at the limiting beliefs people put on there, right? One-hit wonder, he'll never do it again. Well, he was the first person to ever to get 1 billion, with a B, views on YouTube of his official video. Not even talking about all the offshoots, but 1 billion views. First person ever do it. Now, because he's broke that, other people have done it. But his numbers kept going up and up and up. And I don't know if you realize this, Colton, but here's what happens when you dream big and you raise your vibration. Did you know he changed YouTube because of that one song? Were you aware of that?
I was not aware of that. Tell me what you mean by that.
Well, if anybody that's listening knows anything about computer programming, there's an algorithm, huge numbers, 2.1 something billion. And all these big companies use this algorithm because they never figure anybody's going to approach that number and cause issues. So they set that as their algorithm. Like I say, it's kind of common. Well, all of a sudden he hits 1.1 billion, 1.2, 1.3, and YouTube starts freaking out because they know if he gets to 2.1, whatever the algorithm is, he'll crash their whole system. He'll crash it. So they had to reprogram all of YouTube to be able to handle his one video. When I checked while I was in Singapore last weekend, he's now at 2.8 billion views of his one song. And picture this, after a certain level, every time someone views his video, he makes money off of it. Now you talk about cha-ching baby right there. So all of a sudden he came out with his next song, and it instantly went to over 1 billion views because of that first song. You gotta love momentum. And so momentum, if you want to increase your energy, you start building momentum. Surround yourself with people who want to be successful. People who are in the same energy as you, and build off each other's momentum. Watch your vibrations all raise. And it's easier to lift other people when you're going upwards than to try to push them from below. And the view's a lot better too.
Yeah. So how many of you guys can resonate with Robert when he talks about dream stealers, right? I call them naysayers, right? They're all around you. How many of you guys have naysayers in your life? Put yes in the comments below. And how many of you guys can feel just the energy that vibrates from Robert, just even through your digital device? Give some reactions if you can just sense that. I mean, ever since I met you in LA, like I was like, dude, this guy's on a different vibration. There's something else about him. You can't even explain it in words, right? You want more of that, right? Do you meditate, Robert, just out of curiosity?
Yes, but not how you would think.
Can you tell us more about that?
Well, you know me, I'm always on the go.
Yeah.
So the thought of me taking 20 minutes and just quietly, like, it happens. I use an app called Calm, C-A-L-M, and I love the sound of rain. So I'll put it on for 20 minutes, half an hour, and I will meditate that way. But my main practice of meditation, I actually did a Zen retreat 15 years ago here in a beautiful place here in Canada called Blue River, British Columbia. And when I did this 4-day Zen retreat, now you know me a little bit, but could you picture me 4 days, no talking? 4 days.
I couldn't imagine that.
Yeah, my wife was in bliss, I gotta tell you. So we did this retreat, and one of the questions coming up in my mind, but I never had a chance to verbalize this, is sitting there in that space, okay, it was easy to meditate, but what about when I'm back to my day-to-day life? Like you said, the kids running you full time. So we'd have a question-answer period at the end of each night, and one of the participants, she said, Sherry, I have a question. And she says, what is it? She goes, here I can meditate, but I can't in my life. What would you suggest? Because I'm just way too busy. I don't have the time and the energy to do it. And Sherry's answer blew me away. She said, simply meditation, all meditation is being present. And so she said, anytime during your day where you're actually present and focused on what you're doing, you're meditating. And so all of a sudden, like when I'm driving, if I don't have music blaring and I'm just focused on the driving, I'm meditating. Where I really put it in practice when I'm on stage and I'm talking to a student, when I'm connected with them, I'm connected with them. Am I aware of everything going on? Yes, but I'm connected to them. So I'm meditating. So my new practice is to practice being more present every moment of the day. So I get a ton of meditation in, if that makes sense.
Makes perfect sense. I'm reading this book right now called Irresistible. It talks about substance abuse and behavioral abuse, such as, they talk about World of Warcraft and Facebook and our phones, right? We are inundated now more than ever with things coming at us, with information age, right? What are some tips for these guys watching to be able to be present with all of these distractions around us? How can we do that?
Yeah, it's practice. Practice, practice, practice. Don't think you're going to be instantly good at it. One of my favorite quotes from T.R. Becker, every master was once a disaster. So you start wherever you can. So practice taking 10 seconds of being present. So whether it's, say, and here, if you really want to blow your spouse away, practice with them first. Because I guarantee, and you tell me, Colton, have you ever been talking to someone, but you were there, but mentally you were somewhere else?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So
I've done that with my family at dinner.
Yeah. And so people go, well, Robert, I don't have enough time with my family. And what they're not realizing is the time that they're having with their family, because they're not focused, it becomes a quantity time, which you're not really there, so the family's not getting a benefit from it. And so you could give them all the quantity time you want, but when you start practicing, especially with your family. So I travel overseas a lot. A lot of times my wife comes with me, but if she doesn't, this is where FaceTime comes in, because at the end of the day, no matter the other person wandering, we just remind them to come back and be with us. And so start with 10 seconds, make it to 20 seconds, then go to 30, go to a minute. Next thing you know, you create that habit, you'll just more naturally be doing it in every part of your life. And the people around you will notice. All of a sudden, your quantity of time has become quality of time with your family. And because they're getting more out of it, if you're working hard to get for success, as an example, or even just to pay the bills, they're not as resentful of that time away, because when you're with them, you're with them.
Got it. Totally understand that. I would say my biggest challenge is I allow my mind to keep going, because I just love creating and operating. And there's not going to be, my daughter's 2 and 5, right? They're not going to be 2 and 5 forever. And that I appreciate you sharing that with me, because the quality of time is what I must improve on. I choose to improve it. Right now, I improve on it. That's what I'm doing.
And that's one of the great things that, something that went away a long time ago is like the family meal.
Yeah.
You imagine sitting at the family meal, and now you're spending that quality time, even if it's 10 minutes before the kids go stir crazy and want to jump up and down and run. But that quality time will make a huge difference.
We do dinner every day, and you know what we have at dinner?
What's that?
We have Thomas Tadlock's green smoothie and raw broccoli for dinner with guacamole dip. That's what we do at dinner time. Did you know Thomas has been mentoring me with my health since January. And
nice.
So I was at about 210 pounds when I started, and I'm at 174 today and at 12.5% body fat, and the most energy I've had in my entire life. And that is to date, biggest success, is dominating my health and just winning at my health. By far my
congratulations.
Yeah,
thank you. Thomas and Brooke, they are impacting people's lives. Again, there goes the goosebumps.
Big time.
Hair standing up on my arm. See, I got hair here, not up here, but it's all good.
I just did an interview with Brooke, and that live stream, I think it was like 2 days ago, it's almost at 4,000 views because of the topic that, she's talking about. What she's doing is something we aren't taught ever. Like, parents don't teach it. School doesn't teach you. and what they're doing is teaching what is like this little golden nugget it's almost impossible to find. Let's do this. So start asking Robert some questions. I want any question you guys have. It could be about finances. It could be about onstage speaking. It could be about how do you create your epic life. And now what are some of the chapters inside your book that just really stand out to create the epic life?
Well, we go through 6 very unique steps. And, the first step is that dream big. Second step is you've got to find a mentor or someone to model from. So let's take Thomas as an example for you. Doing it on your own, you were having maybe somewhat success, but you're struggling. But the moment you got a mentor or a coach, someone to actually say, do this, do this, do this, do this, look at how it's changed you since January, right? That's the important. And most people go, but I can't afford a mentor. Look, you find a way to create it. This is why I love reading books. This is why I love reading biographies, watching biographies, so I can see the journey. So the second step is all about finding a mentor, someone to model from. At the same time, it's about who can you mentor. See, it's not just about take. It's about who can I give to as well. And, so that's in there. Step 3, which is interesting, and I love step 3 because here's the thing. This is one of the things that stepped you apart from so many other people, Colton. And one of the things I really admire about you. Unfortunately, people learn stuff. Only 3% of them will ever actually put it into action. Step 3 is taking action. The moment you learned at Train the Trainer and I taught you, you started applying it, and that's what really started impacting your life, which then impacted now more other people's lives. So most people forget to take action. So that's step 3. Step 4, here's kind of the way I look at it. You can have the greatest dreams in the world. You can have the greatest mentors. You can even take actions. But what sabotages a lot of people is they forget to do number 4, which is to celebrate their successes. Celebration is so critical. Can you imagine you do a Zoom where once a month you get 15, 20 people on, and the only thing you're doing on that Zoom is just celebrating each other's successes since the last time.
Yeah.
And each person takes a turn saying, well, in the last month, here's what I did. Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
And you celebrate it, right? It anchors it in. And then that leads to step number 5, which is one that weaves through all the other steps. And that's believing in yourself. You got to believe in yourself. And then step 6 is repeat the first 5 steps. And here's why it's magical. Let me explain it like this. So you start with wherever you're at, and you're talking about raising your vibration. So some people go, okay, I'm not at the level that Colton is. I'm not at the level you're at, so I can't do this. And it's like, no, you start with wherever you're at. You set your dreams bigger than you thought you could. You find a mentor or someone to model to help you take those dreams and get them going. You take those actions, you celebrate those successes, and now it'll increase the belief in yourself, which means as you increase your belief, you'll set bigger dreams, which means you'll find even greater people to mentor model from. You'll take bigger actions. You'll have bigger celebrations, which strengthens your belief in even more, and it becomes a beautiful perpetual motion. So that's one of the biggest things you could do to really take your life to another level.
So an example of that is when I first started with Thomas, I was like, hey, if I could get to 180 pounds, phone call.
I lost you. Yeah, I lost a couple seconds. All of a sudden, hey, what's going on?
No, so an example of what you're talking about is how your belief grows with time. So when I started with Thomas I was like, if I get to 180 pounds and drop 2 inches off my waist, I had succeeded with my health. And as I got closer to that, and I was talking with Thomas, I was like, well, why stop at 180? Like now the belief is, well, I want 10% body fat and 3 inches off my waist. And it wasn't possible in my mind when I first started, right? It's like I drove that 200 feet and I was like, oh, wait, there's more here. There's bigger here, right? If I were to look back when I started, and the first MMI I went to, right, is I wrote down the number for me for financial freedom. If there was one thing that I wished I would have done differently, is I just wished my number was bigger that I had written down on that page. Because it literally comes into creation, right? Someone said step 5 is a work in progress for them. Jamie said that.
Jamie, and Jamie, that's, because I actually remember when Jamie did her first MMI a number of years ago, and I don't believe she's been back to one. I believe it was in Denver, Jamie. And, that's where I want you to start being more gentle with yourself. Because notice that right there is even a limiting belief to take yourself out. It's a work in progress. So instead say, you know what? I'm enjoying doing step 5. I'm happy with where I'm at with it. And honor what you're doing with it instead of letting your mind come in with the smallest little things to try and distract you. And, going to what you said, Colton, too, what I just did in Ireland 2 weeks ago, in Singapore last week, when I had people write that number down just for fun, as soon as I had them write it down, I said, now add a 0 to the end of that number. And I watched the reaction in the audience. It was like, and I said, how many of you just freaked out? And there, all these hands went out. And I said, exactly. Because with what you know and where you're at, that is not possible. But I see greater things in you than you even see in yourself. And so understand that you don't know what you don't know. I know a lot more around this arena, so I know that is possible for you. So let's dream bigger. And I use it as an example for dreaming bigger, and it blew people away. Blew people away.
So here's an example, Jamie, of how I started celebrating more with my team, right? So because my main business is real estate sales. Since training the trainer, I've actually stepped out of production and focused more on growing my online courses and training and things like that. But I still coach and train and lead my sales team. And so every time a sales agent on my team sets an appointment, we go into the office and he hits a gong and everyone just starts hooting and hollering.
Yes.
We go crazy. That is an example of celebrating a victory. An appointment is something little that you turn into a big success, right? Mm-hmm. So what could you celebrate in your life right now? I think one thing to celebrate is you spend some time investing with positive information to increase your vibration, right? So celebrate that. Be like, yeah, I'm doing it. I'm taking control of my vibration. And one thing that I would, if I was in person, I would ask Jamie if I could give you some feedback. But since I can't ask you that, I'm just going to suggest it anyways. I noticed you put, no, I haven't. I need to get back to there. I would just suggest you change your language and say, I must get back to there. My needs list grows around the house, but it's my must list that stuff gets done. So your language.
And then even choose to. Yeah.
Choose.
Words have power. Words absolutely have power. And that's the key. So yeah. I love that advice for her.
Awesome. So just go to the link, Success Left a Clue. I've got it pinned on there. You can get the book. Check it out. He just launched it today. It's the heavens lined up for me to even be able to. I just reached out to you. I was like, man, I want to interview that guy. Sent you a message, and you're like, let's do it ASAP. I'm like, well, how soon? You're like, right now. I'm like, well, I can't do it till 3 o'clock. Let's do it today. So I was just shuffling to get you on because I was so stoked, man. So what are some final words of nuggets? What are some final clues for these guys watching today?
It just starts back to those dreams again, because another one of my clues is that your comfort zone is the killing zone of your dreams. And so if your comfort zone's only this big, that's as big as your dream's going to be. And it kind of reminds me, and it's one of the stories I actually put in the book. A little boy goes to the zoo, and he's walking around the zoo, and he comes up to the bear habitat. And he looks at the bear, and he can see visibly that the bear is upset, not happy. And the zookeeper comes along a little while later, and the young boy asks him, says, why is the bear unhappy? And the zookeeper says, because he's sitting on a nail. So the boy says, well, why doesn't he move off of it? He says, because he's not uncomfortable enough yet to move off of it. And while they're having this conversation, all of a sudden, this bumblebee comes buzzing and starts buzzing around the face of the bear. Irritates it. So it gets off the nail. Now, to the person watching, they would think that it was the bumblebee that got the bear to move. But it wasn't. The bumblebee was just extra chaos. The nail was already causing the misery. And because it wasn't miserable enough, chaos stepped in and said, let me up the ante. And it sent the bumblebee. And that's what's happening in everybody's life. Most people in their lives right now are miserably comfortable. And until they get a little more chaos in their life, they're going to stay miserably comfortable. And so I encourage people to find a way. And this is, something you said about even celebrating that they took a few minutes to watch this. Something empowering. Because look at what research says. 1 minute of negative news, it actually takes you 5 minutes of positive to undo the 1 minute of negative. A 5-to-1 ratio. And so you get all these people that watch shows like CNN, constantly negative news, and they wonder why their lives have been miserable. Is because they're so in tune to that negative, they forget to surround themselves with some positive. And especially when it's a 5-to-1 ratio. That's why I don't watch the news anymore. I don't read newspapers. I choose to here's how I use Facebook, and here's what I would do for people on Facebook. I use Facebook to find the inspirational stories. I love watching the America's Got Talent feeds. I love watching when someone shares something that's inspirational. I'm sharing it all over the place. I'm watching it. I'm sharing it to my own messenger so that later, because I have a photographic memory. People don't realize that, but I do. I'm just out of film, and I forgot to update to digital. I'm still on old school, so I forget things really quickly. So I make sure I put in a system. It's another one of my clues, and I want people to write this down, because this is one that's made probably one of the biggest differences in my life. And you tell me, Colton, how often have you been in the moment of something and all of a sudden brilliance comes through you, and within seconds you can't even remember what it was?
Oh yeah,
Has that ever happened to you?
I have to carry a journal around and write it down instantly, right? Like
if that was it,
I have to get it out. Yeah.
Yep. So you write it down. That's the clue right there. Write it down. I actually use my phone that way. I use the notes. I'm constantly, and for me, a lot of it's from my podcast, because I'm doing a weekly podcast now by the same title, Success Left a Clue. And I'll be out and about anywhere, and all of a sudden an inspiration will hit what I want to do a podcast on, and I know myself, so I grab my phone, I stop what I'm doing, I add it in before I do anything else, because I know seconds later it's gone. And so that's a big one that people can do if they want to take their lives to another level. Keep that inspiration flowing.
In fact, one of the things that I do 2 to 3 times a day, and it's only 5 minutes, I just take my journal and I write my intentions out, right? I just start writing them out, and I do it in a couple of ways. One is if it's already happened, and one is I'm being grateful that it's already happened. And I look at the past of what I've been able to create, and I'm just like, why didn't I write something bigger 5 years ago? You know what I mean? Like, that is the one thing.
But I get it. But Colton, you've brought that up a couple times. Look at how even with all the stuff you're doing, you're sabotaging your even further success, because you're comparing your past. The past is gone. Just go to the movie Frozen. Let it go. Let it go. That's the only part of the song that I know. Thank goodness people don't want me singing anymore. But even in our conversation, you've twice said, I only wish back then I would have done this.
Yeah.
Everything you've done has made you who you are. Had you set the bigger intentions back there, chances are you may not even be who you are today. You may have gone on to something totally different. You may have sabotaged yourself another way. So you don't know. So let that crap go and just be focused on honoring where you're at and moving forward. And that's why every day write down 5 successes. I started doing a success journal, but after an interview that I saw from Gary Vaynerchuk, where he was interviewing Anthony Robbins, and it blew my mind, because Tony Robbins does something every day. He spends 10 minutes a day in gratitude. He's meditating on it, thinking about who and what is he grateful for in his life. So the moment I heard that interview, I switched my success journal, which I do every single day of 5 successes, is now a success/gratitude journal. So it could be 5 successes, it could be 3 successes and 2 gratitudes. And it's things like, right now, I'm grateful for my book launching. I'm grateful that I have amazing people around me, because, you know, the saying, it takes a village to raise a child. It takes a team to write a book. And even though my name's on it, and even though I wrote it, if it was just me, the book never would have come out. So I'm grateful for the people around me. I'm grateful for the life I have. And so every day I'm making sure I write down not only my successes, but my gratitudes. And that's what I choose. I choose to focus on that.
I'm grateful that I've written my targets down for several years now. Boom.
Yeah,
That's an example.
nice.
That's why I love him. Always, now he's paused. Robert just There we are.
There we are.
There we are.
I'm here, man. I'm here.
Lost you for a second. So I'm grateful. I'm gonna learn right now. I choose to learn. I'm grateful that I've been thinking the way I've thinking the last 32 years of my life, and for the journey I've been on and the successes I've had. Prime example.
Nice.
Do you know? I'll share this with you. When I first signed up for the Quantum program, it was really Train the Trainer I was most stoked about, right? Because I was like, dude, I want to do that. I want to go be on stage speaking and training and travel the world. And then I went to train the trainer, and that was intense. Like, it was intense, right? And I saw what you had to go through, and I was like, dude, right now, I don't want to do that. I don't want to travel to Singapore and Vietnam and Canada. I want to be at home with my kids and go to their tumbling meets and their dance things. And it was so eye-opening for me, because what I thought I wanted, I really didn't want. Does that make sense?
Remember, some of God's greatest gifts are unanswered prayers. Hey, I want to introduce you to someone. You interested in meeting someone? Again? Oh.
Definitely introduce.
There we go.
There we go.
I want to introduce you to someone that I know it's windy out here, but I mentioned her a lot from the stage, and I want to actually introduce you to her. This is Gracie Mae.
Hey, Gracie Mae.
All 245 pounds of her. She's chilling in the backyard, doing what she loves to do. I know, huh? Am I disturbing you? You're sleeping?
That's so funny.
She is the inspiration for what will be probably our next book project, which is the children's book, The Adventures of Gracie Mae, all based on her life and her everything she's taught us. Because anything you want to learn from nature, or anything you want to learn, you just learn from nature. So this is Gracie Mae. She's our
Gracie Mae.
2 days old. Everybody's saying hello to you. Mwah. Yes. So I thought I'd introduce you to her.
Awesome, man. Well, I appreciate it. Well, I've got to get going somewhere else. So appreciate you being on here. One last time, give this stream a share and give some reactions if this created any value for you. So one of the things I wanted, I got to have feedback. I must have feedback from you guys to make sure that the value we're bringing to you is actually creating value, or I got to change the content, right? So give some reactions if this created any value for you at all. Give some angry faces if it did not, and make sure to hit that share button and go to Success Left a Clue, right?
That's a copy of a cover copy right there.
So I pinned
successleftaclue.com.
I pinned the link. It's in there. It's in the comments. Make sure that you go check it out. Jamie, we appreciate you being on here. Robert, I appreciate you, and I hope one day I get to make it on your podcast just so I can learn from you some more. So thank you so much, and we'll see you soon.
All right. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Thanks. We'll see ya. All right, guys, hopefully you guys appreciated the message from Robert Riopel today. Just want to give a quick shout out to Financial Freedom Nation. If you want to learn to manage and grow your cash flow into financial freedom, go to financialfreedom.com, or you know what, just send me a message and get in part of the Jumpstart program. And there I'm teaching you over 8 weeks what I've learned from mentors on how to take, no matter how much money you earn, but how to manage that cash flow so you can start creating financial freedom more quickly in your life. If you want to buy or sell real estate in Utah, get a hold of me. If you're a real estate agent wanting to do that as well, or have referrals for me, send them my way. We will pay you a referral, and we will take care of your clients quick and easy. And finally, if you're a real estate agent, want to dominate your real estate world, your life, your business, fearlessagent.com. Make sure that you go to Fearless Agent, get signed up for coaching and training. We got some epic stuff coming there with my friend and founder of Fearless Agent, Bob Leffler. Appreciate you guys. We'll see ya.